Hello, my name is Chris and I am the creator of Vantage. In this episode of How to Survive, I'm going to talk about the crafting system. I will talk about all the details of the crafting window, how crafting works, and how to make the very best items that you can. The crafting system is of course the main gameplay mechanic of the game, so it will seem a little bit complicated, but after you understand it, it's actually very simple and straightforward. So let's just get into it. First, I will talk about the crafting window. The crafting example I will use will be our Create Fire craft. The first thing I want to point out is that there's a focus usage description here on the left side. Whenever you craft, you use focus. You can see your character's focus on the lower right on your player statistics window. For this example, focus usage is medium. What this means is it will use a moderate amount of your total focus. Just keep in mind how much focus you have left when crafting an item. Your focus replenishes over time. There are many other ways to increase your focus regeneration. Like for example, standing near a fire. Below that are two buttons that say Auto Plus and Auto Minus. Whenever you create a craft, you can click one of these buttons and it will automatically fill all the empty item slots for your craft if they are available. Auto Plus fills your craft items with the highest quality items of those types. And of course, Auto Minus fills it with the lowest quality items. By default, the completed items are put on your person. However, if you just want to have them on the ground once they are complete, you can click the Drop Completed Items checkbox. And of course, once all the items are filled in on your craft window, the craft button will highlight and you are able to click it and you will begin crafting. And of course, once the craft is complete, you can craft the item again. When the crafting window is open, you are in what is called the Craft Item Selection mode. You can only select items from your World and Player Inventory windows for the craft window. So for example, what happens is, since I need an item of type Hearth for the first item, I can click on my Wood Hearth in the World Inventory. I can do the same for the dry grass since it is type tinder, and for the wood spindle as it is type spindle. And you can see that they are filled in on the craft window. And again, if you want to make things quicker, since we're in this mode, you can easily just click the Auto Plus or Auto Minus button. And of course, if you don't have the items will not show in as being filled on your craft window. The specific items that you have selected will change color on the World Inventory and Player Inventory screen, letting you know that you are currently using that item for a craft or another person is currently using that item for a craft. Okay, so let's talk about the item list and the descriptions. There are many different types of symbols and items you can see for various crafts on the crafting window. You can hover over one of the items needed for a craft and it will show you a full description of what you need for that item. I'll discuss each of these items in detail. So the first item you need is an item of type Hearth. Descriptions in brackets mean that needs an item type. When you hover over any item in your World or Player Inventory, you get a tooltip with more of a description of that item. Included in that is a blue box that's called Item Types. For example, when I hover over the Wood Hearth, you can see that there's an item type of Hearth. That means it is an item of type Hearth and I'm allowed to use it for this craft. There are also two other symbols next to this description. The large O describes that this item needs to be in World Inventory. What this means is that the item needs to be in the world and not on your person. This usually means that when you finish a craft, it'll most likely be placed at the position of where this item is located in the world. The asterisk or star means that it is a primary item. When you select an item and put it into the crafting window, you can see a progress bar. This is the quality of the item you selected. As you craft, the quality of the item will slowly diminish over time. This isn't true for all items, some will actually gain quality. But generally they slowly degrade as you create your new item. When the quality of an item reaches 0, it disappears and is destroyed. When the item is a primary item, when this happens, when the quality reaches 0, the craft fails, and you must start the craft again with a new item. The second item, we only need an item of type spindle. As you can see, there are no descriptions next to it, which means it is not a primary item. So what this means is if the quality of this item reaches 0, the craft is paused. The craft does not fail. What will happen is you have an opportunity to choose another item of type spindle, and then you will be allowed to resume the craft. So when you are crafting and you have items that are not primary, it is a good idea to have multiple of that item, just in case one of those items reaches 0 quality and breaks. Then you will not have to redo the craft from the beginning. Our third item is an item of type tinder. The tinder is also a primary item, which means once its quality reaches 0, the craft will automatically fail. The plus symbol means that this item will be consumed on a successful craft, which means once we finish our craft, which will be the fire, the tinder item will be removed. If you see the minus symbol, that means an item will be destroyed when the craft fails. So many times you'll see both icons, the plus and the minus, which means whether the craft will succeed or fail, the item will be destroyed. Okay, so let's begin crafting. Up here while we are crafting, you will see what is happening, the type of craft you're doing and what action your character is taking. Hovering over the tooltip here shows you exactly what your character was doing, as if they were doing this in real life. As we are crafting, many things are happening. You can see that the quality is degrading. Sometimes it will degrade very quickly. This is called a craft failure, and I will discuss that later. You gain experience while crafting and doing other actions in the world. I will explain this later as well. Now in this crafting example, our craft is paused. The reason being is that our spindle has cracked. It has reached 0 quality and we need another one. Since it was not a primary item, if we have another one available, we can select it from our player or world inventory, then we can hit the craft button again and resume as normal. While you are crafting, you are allowed to search the area again. Moving around will cancel the craft. In this example, I have a spindle on the ground, simulating if another player came by and dropped a spindle for me to use. So what I can do is I can search the area again using the G key or the green icon, and now I can select the wood spindle from the world inventory window. Now I'm allowed to continue the craft. Our craft is now complete. So as you can see, the overall progress window shows you the total progress of when your craft will be complete. You can see the final quality levels of your items, and you may see red exclamation point icons underneath the overall progress bar. What these are critical failures. As you are crafting, items generally slowly degrade. However, there's also a chance that you do a critical failure. A critical failure results in a large loss of quality for that item. But you don't have to worry. What affects the quality loss, critical failure, and the speed of your progress of crafting are your character skills and the experience that you earn, which I will explain later. As I mentioned before, there are several ways to replenish your focus. You can eat food and drink liquid. You can also stand near a fire. Since I am standing near a fire now, if I go up to my buffs window, it shows me that I'm getting a bonus to my focus regeneration. So generally, if you plan to do a lot of crafting, doing it near a fire is a good idea. Okay, now I will talk about skills and experience. As you craft, you gain experience. Of course, there are many other ways to gain experience in the world, but the majority you will probably get through crafting. As you gain experience, you will gain levels in your skills, and crafting becomes easier. If we open our known crafts window with the C key, we get a list of our known crafts. If we expand one of the crafting options, it will give you a breakdown of what general items you need to create the craft. However, if you click the skills button at the top, it will show you a list of skills that are used for the craft. The number on the right is the weight of that skill. This tells you how important that skill is for this craft. The higher the number, the higher chance of experience you will get while using this craft, and it is also a multiplier for the amount of that skill that will be used for the craft. So for example, for our fire, your primitive fire making skill is the most important. This means if you have a high primitive fire making skill, you will generally create the craft a little faster, the item wear will be less, and the critical failures will be less if you have a high level of your primitive fire making skill. To check your skills, you can go to your character skills window by pressing the K key, and you can find your primitive fire making skill, and you can see the level and the experience level it is currently at. So if you wish to increase a certain character's skill, make sure you use a craft that has a high weight on that skill. As you are crafting, you will see the experience that you earn. And if you're lucky, sometimes you will earn an epiphany in a skill. That is a large boost in experience. So that there is a description of the crafting system. I hope you enjoyed the video, and now you are able to create your entire village one craft at a time. Enjoy.